Mark, I know that you've been waiting your entire life for this. Finally, Whitney Houston's coming to Las Vegas in hologram form. Can you believe it?
Oh, I'm the wrong person to ask about this. I mean, Whitney Houston's great. Probably the best singer of our generation. But I don't know. It's weird. Like, it just seems weird. I don't want to go watch like a video hologram thing of her. And I'm not huge into music or worshiping celebrities or anything like that. So, if you're a big Whitney Houston fan, I'm sure this is big to you. But there's like nobody out there that I would be like, oh, I gotta go see that. So I don't know. It's weird. What do you think?
I think it's interesting. I mean, we've done it with MJ and the Cirque Show, and so it's not like it's never been done before. So I guess if you're really a fan of the music, especially if you've never been able to see the artist in person, like somebody like Prince, I think would be interesting to see as a hologram. But admittedly, I'm not kind of running out there to do it. But it is coming to Harrah's Las Vegas from October 26th to May 1st, 2022. And they have shows, many times a week. And the tickets are from $52 to $82. You can get close to the front right now, front row for $82. So I don't know if that's good or bad
Yeah,
though. Maybe you could see the hologram, you could see that it's
yeah.
a
I don't.
screen.
What's the plus? Do you get to high five the hologram or what? But I will take it back. The one person I would maybe pay to go see is like a Freddie Mercury one. I think that would be cool because he did such a good live shows and everything, and I was too young to really to go to it or see it. So definitely that would be the one thing I would check out. So if they're gonna make a hologram, there you go. Go for that one.
Yeah, that would be pretty epic to see Freddie Mercury. And I mean, hopefully the technology is pretty good. I've seen some of this stuff in person, obviously not the Whitney stuff, but hopefully it turns out to be a great show. I read some mixed reviews about it, so we'll see come October. And like I said, there are tickets available, wide open. You can get pretty close to the stage, pretty close up if you want
Any
to do that.
any ideas how many seats they have?
It's not a huge theater. I didn't look up the exact number, but just looking at it, they have typical seating down on the floor, and then they have like kind of booth seating up there. So typical kind of Vegas showroom. So probably less than 1,000 seats.
Yeah, I wonder like do I'm sure they pay rights to the Whitney Houston's for the to use the songs and everything, but I wonder if this is a more profitable show or if the technology and stuff takes up so much of the money. It'd be interesting to see if this is a hit if they continue to do it with other artists.
Yeah, and I think this show toured before it came to Vegas, or it was touring in 2020 before COVID. So I'm not quite sure, but they do have a full band. They have backup singers and dancers. So it is a full production show at least, and it does look like they're doing pretty high quality there. So we'll keep covering it. But if you love Whitney, grab those tickets now because lots of good tickets still available for that. Also, speaking of quality, Mark, have you ever wanted to own furniture from one of the finest hotels in all of Las Vegas? Maybe the finest hotel in all of Las Vegas. Nellis Auctions selling off all the Wynn Las Vegas furniture right now. And as you know, I love Nellis Auctions. That blue chair behind me is from Cosmo from their last renovation from the same company. So I've been looking at some of the artwork, some of the Picasso prints and stuff like that that look pretty cool.
A lot of suitcase holder racks I saw.
You only looked at the front
so
page, that's why.
yeah, so you
There's
can get
everything. There's
you can
dressers,
get
everything.
yeah, but you could get those cheap if that's what you're looking for. If you need one at home, I don't know why anybody would want one, but if you need it, there you go. Now, when you went, you got to go see it in person, didn't you? When you bought the stuff from Cosmo, or no?
No, it's the same thing. It goes through this Nellis
Oh, okay.
auctions thing, and then in my case, they would sell a chair, right? And then you would go there, and then you could pick through every chair that they had,
Okay,
because they
I
might
knew
have
that
20
you
of the same chairs, so you could go
yeah.
there and kind of pick the best version of it.
I knew there
So
was
yeah,
something where you got to like pick it out because that would be my fear. Like you're ordering it, and this is a lot of this stuff is probably a little bit beat up because it's been in a hotel for a while and rented and everything. So that would be my fear. I mean, if you could get a nice looking one, that'd be pretty awesome because it's a huge discount compared to what you would normally pay for this stuff. But that would be the thing. I mean, if you're local and you can go pick it up, why not?
yeah, I agree with you. There's a lot of interesting artwork. There's Picasso prints. There's Andy Warhol. I think even Jackson Pollock. So some of the art that was in the win rooms is really beautiful, and you're gonna get those prints framed for much less than you would get new. And Win kept pretty good, everything in pretty good shape. So I don't think anything's gonna be too destroyed. Of course, you have to kind of like the kind of light creamy beige color of the furniture, but certainly it's a good deal if you can find it. And they'll have multiple auctions, so they'll release these in chunks. So if you don't get the auction that's going on right now, they'll probably have more as they do rooms. So don't worry too much about it. And I suggest, like, just from doing it with the Cosmo, kind of watch the prices. Some days a chair might sell for three times what it would sell on a different day. So, and again, they have hundreds, thousands of rooms that they're doing. So over time, they'll be able to do it. So yeah, I think it's really cool. I'm looking at some of the artwork. Not any of the furniture, but some of the artwork to do it. The desk I use right here.
They should sell it all to Fontainebleau and.
Well, to your point about it being cheaper though, like the desk I have right here is solid wood, everything. I paid $20 for it from the Cosmo sale, and it sat in the Cosmo.
That's better
rooms.
than you get like when you go to the dirty garage sale and it's all dusty, and those are $20. So that's pretty crazy that you got that one for 20.
Yeah, and actually I have two of them, and they're very high quality. Like I said, solid wood, very nice, and the Wynn furniture, very nice. A lot of solid wood, a lot of good quality stuff. A lot of stuff that you probably don't want, to your point, luggage racks, things like that. But I lost probably an hour the other day kind of going through everything and picking out some of the stuff I want. But I'm playing the long game here and kind of scoping out prices, I guess. So we'll see how it goes. If I buy anything, I'll let everybody know on a future show. But it's good. Nellis Auctions does this often with local Vegas stuff. They also have Amazon returns. So to your point, if you're local in Vegas, it's definitely worth checking them out and playing around with their website, seeing what they have to offer. So the next thing, Mark, on our list is the circification of sportsbooks. We're going to talk a little bit more about Caesars cutting back. We had some good coverage this week of some other changes, removing table games, all of that stuff. But I guess we'll start with this. Confirmation that Harrah's Sportsbook this fall will be going to a paid model. I think that during big events, they've always had a paid model, right? Where you had to kind of pay for seats during like Super Bowl or something like that. But it sounds like they're going to a model where they're going to charge for pretty much every kind of main event day. And like, what is it, $80 and up? It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. We haven't gotten a lot of the details if it's, just $80 flat or is it an $80 min? If it's an $80 min, that's a little bit different. I've never really gotten the whole let's go watch the game in the sports book, thing. What's the point? You can go to any bar or restaurant and watch it. You can watch it. There's TVs everywhere in Vegas. So what's the point of going to the sports book? I know everybody there is watching sports and, there's a lot of screaming and everything. But outside of making a bet, which I would make on my phone now, so I don't even have to go wait in those lines, I kind of get away from the sports book. I want to go somewhere, more unique, cool. A lot of these sports books are older. The TVs aren't that great. Harrah's doesn't have a great sports book. Caesars is a little bit better, but it's nothing that I would pay money for. So I don't know. I never understood it. Like a Circa, they have those cool sofa seats and everything. I could see somewhat why they would charge for that. I mean, if they're charging for regular seats, I wouldn't pay to sit crammed in next to somebody in a stadium-style seat. That's the worst part about going to a game is getting crammed in next to somebody. So why do you want to do it if you're watching on TV? But I don't know. It's just more of the Vegas vibe, get money where you can for everything you can.
Yeah, we've talked about it before, but it does seem like somebody at Caesars is just looking right at the bottom line and they're not thinking forward to the guest experience. Mark Meltzer was at some of their casinos this week, had a lot of good coverage about some of the changes that we've talked about from, cutting back on the free comp drink service, like somebody ordering a beer and a shot and getting charged for the shot, them not giving water. And then we've seen reports and pictures. Yeah, I mean,
that's so crazy.
It doesn't get worse than that, does it? And then we've seen reports of them removing table games from many of their casinos too, for some of the more electronic automated games. So it's very clear that their casino floors are changing, their programs are changing, their restaurants are changing. Giada's this week added a $25 reservation charge if you want to reserve a seat by the window there. They took away their free bread. I mean, it's getting to the point where people are just having a terrible experience here.
Bread is so cheap. Like you make bread for pennies. I don't know what the point of taking away free bread, but I mean for the window paying $25, it was kind of hard to get anyway. So I feel like if you really want that, it is a cool view. I can see why they would do that. And $25 isn't astronomically high. We saw Eiffel Tower wants to charge like $100 to get window, and the one at the Stratosphere, at the top of the Stratosphere, is $25 for window. That doesn't, for some reason, that doesn't bother me as much. You can still sit in the regular seats and you can avoid it. So it's like a premium for a premium seat. but you have a free option as well. So at least you have that. And I think people that want to be on the window are going to be willing to pay it because it was hard to get before, and this makes it maybe more accessible to them, where you know you're going to get it versus just hoping to. So I could see it. I mean, I wish it was more like a minimum. Just say you have to spend $100 a person minimum to sit window or whatever, and give them the experience versus just a fee up front. But I can understand it somewhat for that, I guess.
Yeah, but the bread, come on. I mean, you've offered free
Yeah.
bread. And the prices there are not cheap. This is not a cheap restaurant. They're already charging you for that view, basically, with the menu. I mean, to your point, it is a limited resource to be able to sit right on the window. That's
No, and
probably less offensive than some of this other stuff.
and I know a lot of people on Twitter hated Giada for the food. I actually had good food when I was there, but the portions are very small. So if you're going to give small portions for the prices you're charging, you need to give bread so people at least leave, fulfilled or like not hungry, where you have to go get a taco or something after. So I don't get it. It's really cheap, really really
Yeah.
cheap.
And I think this is a good opportunity for these new operators coming to the strip, whether it be some of the native tribes or Bally's finally buying Tropicana. Some of these new operators have the ability to differentiate themselves now. Vegas is really moving out of this sort of, it hasn't been a value destination for a while, but they're really eroding some of these last sort of bastions of value
I
that you
still
find.
can't. I can't believe you charge for a shot when you get.
Yeah, I mean somebody who's gambling at the bar. It's not like somebody. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just sort of
Or
short-sighted.
if you're going to charge for one, charge for the beer. Like, come on, what are you doing? You're charging a more expensive drink. That's crazy. Oh,
Well, and they're trying
horrible.
to change behaviors, right, over time to train people, removing the diamond lounges. I just don't see, that sort of great feeling people have coming to Vegas anymore. Like everybody's complaining. I haven't seen anybody come here that's not complaining about getting nickel and dimed, about, of course, the service experience. Some of that's COVID related, but some of that has to do with the management at these companies. And like removing table games, that seems kind of counterintuitive to the casino experience as well.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of Caesar's properties pulling out the table game, especially like at the front entry. They always love to put those huge slot machines that win $1 million or win a car there. But when you walked into Cromwell, one of those cool thing was right when you walk down the steps, first thing you see is table games, and I always kind of like that. But they've been pulling those out, and they've been going more and more to these digital table games, which I understand because they're not going to make mistakes like dealers do paying out, especially in craps and stuff. But I don't know, rolling dice on a screen type of thing without the felt, it's a different roll. It's going to slide differently. People have been conditioned to roll a specific way if you're a big craps player, and you get stuck with that. It's going to be a wholly totally different game. I mean, I can't even imagine how often the dice bounce out of the table with with that setup. But they probably don't even let you throw it in the air. You probably have to just like race roll it down, which is counterintuitive for craps players. That's not what you want to do. So I don't know. It's just getting less and less. The old school gambling. People are going to end up going to other states, coming into Michigan, going to the South, hitting casinos there to get that experience, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And Michigan's crazy, but to your point, like they have all of this experience everywhere else. Vegas is unique, and it's sort of losing that uniqueness in some ways, especially at the Caesars properties. Hopefully, that doesn't spread elsewhere. And I got to check out these games. I got to check out these new craps tables that are popping up everywhere. We've also seen the claw game at D downtown, which it looks like you're actually using
Yes,
skill,
which
but it
I'm a
uses very
claw
little skill.
superstar, but it's completely fake.
Yeah,
Like
it's
the
fake.
first time I saw that, because I go to there's an arcade around here on Groupon all the time, and you get like a $50 arcade card for $25, and I go there and I'll win like 15 different things out of the claw just pretty easily. So I'm claw is something that I'm good at, I guess, one of my talents. So I saw that come up and I was like, oh, that'd be a fun game. And claws are usually rigged anyway. They only have enough strength to pull up the item, 1 out of 10 pulls, 1 out of 15, whatever they set it at. So I figured it would just be set really bad, but the fact is it's totally random. It's just like pulling a slot machine, except for you get to watch a claw go out there and drop it. And then when you even pull something, there's no money inside the thing, so that's not even fun. It's just complete fakeness.
I think it looks fun. I mean, for what it is, obviously
Yeah, but you don't
knowing.
get any of the enjoyment. Like opening up that ball and having $100 bill in there is way cooler than getting a printout of $100 ticket. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
think there is a little skill involved with it. I think with all these skill-based gaming machines, they give you like a tiny, tiny bit of skill, but to your point, it's mostly just predetermined, and it's more for the show, I guess, and really trying to attract younger gamblers, which is what all of this is about. Putting in these electronic craps machines, putting in these new types of like arcadey kind of machines, is to attract younger gamblers who are used to something different. So we'll see how it works, but that's
And
anecdotally, people are afraid to go up to the tables. Younger gamblers are intimidated by
yeah.
the by it.
Yeah, and I think it's also like an Asian vibe. They have a lot of games like that, like arcade type of games for gambling. So I wonder if they're trying to draw in on that too, seeing the popularity there. I don't know, but that's a good point. When you first start out, you're terrified of going to a table game. I remember in college and stuff when I'd go sit down and you buy in for like $40 or $60, and everybody looks at you like you're an idiot. So you got to take some lumps, but that's just kind of like the hazing aspect of it. Or go with somebody that's done it before. I take a lot of friends up there and they'll ask me, what should I do? Should I hit here? Should I not? Type of thing. So there's ways around it, but I understand, that's a good point what they're trying to do.
Our next story is MGM spending big money, 1 trillion yen, for a new casino in Japan. It's 1 trillion yen,
It was
but
so impressive until the yen.
that's still
But still,
$9 billion. That's a
yeah.
lot of money.
And what was Resorts World? 4.5 billion? Is that? And that was
Yeah,
the biggest. That was the biggest in Vegas, and you're doubling it, which I know, a different market, and they spend a lot more to build monster casinos there. But it's crazy, and I don't know where MGM came up with the money, but
well, that's why they sold off. Remember, they sold off
yeah,
Bellagio and MGM Grand
yeah.
and City Center, and so that's what they've been doing to get the cash for this. There are proposals for 3 different casinos in Japan itself. There will only be one in Osaka, and they're the only company really putting a proposal forward for this. $9 billion. It's going to be on an island called Yumashima, or Dream Island, and it's in the middle of Osaka Bay. So it's kind of cool that it would be this big
That is
$9 billion
awesome.
resort on kind of an island in the middle of the bay in Osaka. Pretty cool.
Yeah, and if you're the only one there, you're gonna competition and everything. I'm surprised nobody else is bidding unless it's just they had requirements of fees and how much you had to spend. But that sounds amazing. So when are we booking a trip? When are we going?
Well, here's the timeline. The one, I think, caveat to this, and maybe why you're not seeing more people bidding, is I know Las Vegas Sands dropped out of the Japanese casino competition, because they were only going to be getting a 10-year license, and they didn't want to risk everything for that. So that could be why you're not seeing other ones. But it looks like it's going to go to the government April 2022. That's when they're going to do the official application from Osaka. And then 2023, they're going to turn the land over. And then late 2020s will be when the casino opens. So still a little bit of time. But this
Oh,
is why MGM has sold off so much of their land to get the cash to do this.
yeah, that is a big risk. Putting that much money into it with a 10-year lease. I mean, I would assume unless they do something horribly wrong, it will get extended. How would that work out legally and all that? It'd be kind of crazy to change hands that quickly. But it's a big risk, but it sounds awesome. So I definitely need to go. Well, I won't be too old by then, so that's a long ways away, but we can still have fun.
You got to get to Macau too. I mean, as long as, I don't know if you're going to get yourself arrested there or not, for being too for disturbing the peace or being too loud. But I would
Uh,
pay to see you in Macau. I think that would be a pretty amazing thing. So we'll have to get you on an Asian trip to the casinos one of these days. Uh, Another story here. We talk about Caesars cutting back, charging $2 for a shot. Well, apparently they needed the money for the $138 million they dropped to name the Superdome in New Orleans after Caesars Entertainment. And to which I say, where's the love for Vegas? Why did they not spend this money to name one of our stadiums? But yeah, they're $138 million, a lot of money.
because they wanted a winner, that's why.
What? Well, I guess that's fair with the
Uh,
Raiders.
yeah, at least lately. I mean, the Saints were terrible forever until Breeze got there. So you never know. Times change, but I never understood naming a stadium. Period. It seems like they're just throwing money away. I know you have to say like Caesars Entertainment Stadium or whatever, like Little Caesars Arena here, but it ends up getting shorter. Like everybody calls it the LCA here, so they don't even say Little Caesars. Nobody cares. So it's just kind of like, a ego stroke. I don't know, but it's crazy that they would spend this much money where they only have one casino. And it's a beautiful casino. I will say the Harrah's there is awesome, but I don't see the point in it. Why are you pinching pennies over here, screwing over your customer to spend money on a big billboard? Basically, it's stupid.
All right, let's close out the show talking about our favorite thing, which is the 80s. We both grew up in the 80s, and this new retro cafe opened in Vegas, not far from the Strip, near UNLV. Looks, you pointed out, looks like Max from Saved by the Bell, and they have all these retro dishes. It looks like a cool place. I definitely have to check it out, and I thought I'd point it out to everybody out there. Interesting stuff, and it's like I said, 5 minutes from the Strip.
Yeah, I know my wife is a huge '80s fan, so she'll probably want to check it out when we're there in September. There was a bar near my college called Retro Rocks that when you went in there, all they did was play '80s music videos the whole time. So everybody loved it because it was cool. You know, you're playing '80s music, and they would actually play the music video up there back when people made music videos, which I guess they still do for YouTube. But maybe I should say when MTV showed you music videos. So it was a really cool experience, and you know, nostalgia is really big right now, and '80s is everybody's favorite, you know, decade of our age group slash a little bit older. So yeah, I think I definitely got to check it out. I'm sure it's going to be packed. I don't even know how hard it's going to be to get in there, but I'm going to have to try it for sure.
Yeah, it looks really cool. And I was just thinking when we grew up, or at least in LA, when I grew up there, the 60s restaurants, throwback restaurants were a huge thing, 60s diners and stuff like that. And I guess this is just a modern equivalent of that. I mean, time has passed and the 80s is now farther away than the 60s was when I was growing up. So
Bring back the shoulder pads.
yeah, I guess you know you're getting old when they start making throwback cafes to the decade that you grew up in. But
Keep the acid wash jeans though. We don't need those black and white sparkled.
what
Remember
about
the like
tie-dye?
spotty jeans? Tie dye's never gone away. It's always
Yeah.
kind of been there.
Yeah.
But yeah, those jeans were horrible. Oh, I hated those.
So, I mean, I definitely can't wait to hear. I will bring a video to a future show of me eating here because I definitely want to check it out. And it seems like another interesting venue just off the Strip for you guys. And I think that's going to do it for this week's show. Hopefully, things will move in the right direction COVID wise, but interesting to see all of these changes. And like you said, an exciting project in Japan. And Caesars is going to be Caesars at this point. I think just every week we have to talk about more cuts, but hopefully the guest experience gets better in Vegas because it doesn't seem like it's very good right now. We keep seeing so many reports of people just not having a great time or at least having a lot of frustrations along the way. And that's not good for the long-term health of Las Vegas.
And I'll say, you know, we'll probably talk about this more on the live stream Wednesday night, but I booked a room at the MGM Grand in Detroit, and we've been hearing about all the issues in Vegas with housekeeping and that type of thing. So I walked in, the room looked fine. It was a little bit beat up, a little bit dated, but then I looked at the floor and there was, you know, big crumbs everywhere and kind of like hairs and stuff. So it was obvious it didn't get vacuumed, you know, at least that day, maybe for a couple days. So I just kind of walked right out. It was a comp, and I just wanted to video it and check it out. I wasn't actually going to stay. Went and gambled for a while. But yeah, I think everywhere you go is having the same issues. So don't just hate on Vegas.
And we don't hate on Vegas. We love Vegas just like all of you guys. Let us know what you think about any of these stories. Definitely hit up the comments and discuss it with us. Mark and I will both be in there. Don't forget to thumbs up this video, subscribe to the channel, tell everybody about our Vegas shows. We also have our MTM Vegas podcast, which you can find the link in the description, where we talk Vegas every single week. This week we have Bethany Walsh from Bougie Miles doing our happy hour on the podcast. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And thanks so much for watching. We'll talk to you guys next time.
See you next week.